You said you were sorry. You were sorry, but not you were sorry for what you did.
Yeah, pointed words there from the judge after she handed down the maximum sentence possible for the armorer from Bullhead City. She was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter for the death of Rust movie cinematographer Helena Hutchins.
Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was sentenced to 18 months in prison for the death. So what does it mean for actor Alec Baldwin, who will stand trial for the same charge in just a few months? True crime correspondent Brianna Whitney has been following this case closely. Brianna, what are the big takeaways here?
Yeah, it's interesting. So many people have been paying attention to this from all over the nation, and rightfully so. Today's sentencing for Hannah Gutierrez-Reed shows how serious the judge took what happened and what she perceived was Gutierrez-Reed's lack of guilt in return, showing her no mercy or leniency with prison time. Alec Baldwin will be tried by a different judge this summer, but today's sentence might have been exactly what Baldwin and his legal team were looking for.
The word remorse, a deep regret, coming from a sense of guilt for past wrongs. That's not you.
No mincing words Monday for the judge as she explained what led to her decision to hand down an 18-month maximum sentence for involuntary manslaughter to Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed.
Helena has been and always will be an inspiration to me.
Gutierrez-Reed asking for probation, calling what happened on the 2021 movie set a product of lack of time, resources, and staffing, but telling the judge she did her best to handle it. Hutchins died when Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger of what was supposed to be a prop gun, but was loaded with a live bullet, striking and killing Hutchins. The judge not buying the armorer's plea.
You alone turned a safe weapon into a lethal weapon. But for you, Miss Hutchins would be alive, a husband would have his partner, and a little boy would have his mother.
So camera left for now.
I'll stand right here for you.
So whip it out. Yeah. Okay, well, let me get this all greased and ready.
Could the judge's words of "you alone" play a part in actor Alec Baldwin's upcoming trial for the same involuntary manslaughter charge?
Somebody died, and a jury is naturally, the public in general, naturally wants to hold somebody responsible for that. So it makes it very convenient for Mr. Baldwin that there is a person who's already been held responsible.
Criminal defense attorney Russ Richelsoff, unaffiliated with the case, says Baldwin's team will absolutely point fingers at the armorer for the fatal accident, and with her convicted and sentenced, he says that makes their defense even stronger. Richelsoff says it would likely take a certain set of circumstances for the court to find Baldwin equally responsible for Hutchins' death as the armorer herself.
If he had some management responsibility and concerns were brought to his attention and he didn't address them properly, or he was responsible for hiring somebody who wasn't qualified, that could be, a stronger basis for a conviction against him.
But Richelsoff says if the person whose job it was to handle and manage weapons on set is now sitting in prison for the crime, Alec Baldwin's case just grew stronger.
The fact that she's been convicted helps him because somebody has already been held responsible.
Now, the prosecutor also brought up Gutierrez-Reed's apparent lack of remorse on calls she made from jail, while Helena Hutchins' former agent and friends gave victim impact statements today. Alec Baldwin's trial is set to begin on July 10th, guys.
Yeah, it's interesting the analysis that he gave there. What about challenges ahead of Alec Baldwin's trial?
Yeah, so this all happened in a very small town in New Mexico. And the trouble with finding juries in general for high-profile cases is how can you find a set of people who know nothing about these cases so that they can go in with an unbiased, ready to perceive information mind and without having any preconceived notions, right? Even harder when you're talking about a small town, and even more difficult when you're talking about an A-list celebrity that's about to go on trial. So that might be the hardest part that the prosecutors and the defense team is facing with Alec Baldwin. Of course, they'll do their due diligence to make sure that they find a set of jurors that are not biased and that don't know or maybe weren't watching how this trial played out for Hannah Gutierrez-Reed.
And how are you not watching this?
It's hard to think, right? Especially if you're in a small town and this big of a deal is happening. A lot of people tuning in.
Some parallels there to the trials of Donald Trump as well, with jury selection going underway right now with that as well.
Yeah, and we've seen it recently too with high-profile criminal cases here too. We were were just talking about Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, same thing. It becomes very difficult to find a set of people that don't know anything about these, especially in this day and age when you have social media. I mean, you just pick out your phone and there it is, right?
There's so much going on here. It makes you wonder what's going to happen with this movie when all of this is said and done. Do they still release this movie?
I don't know. I don't know, but you know a lot of people are paying attention.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.